Hey guys, it's Ben the Coin Geek at Old Pueblo Coin, and today I have a video for you talking about some questions that you've brought forward, and we like doing some Q&A once in a while, some questions and answers. And just a quick reminder, if you don't mind hitting the like button or leaving a comment we'd appreciate that because it helps with the algorithm, which helps people who actually want to collect coins and learn about coins find our channel instead of all the clickbait people who get, you know, they get a lot more action. Let's put it that way, all right? So some of us, we're mid. What are you going to do? All right, James says, question please, will NGC only cross PCGS? You said that NGC won't cross Annex, so therefore is it also true that NGC will not cross the other slab coins, SEGs, ICG, etc.? Thank you. Yep. Yeah, James, that's correct. So the crossover, for those of you who don't know, is when you have a coin that's already certified and you have it in one company's holder and you want to get it in another company's holder, you send it to the company and they will look at it and say yes or no, we agree with the grade, and they will put it into their holder. So that's called crossing a coin over, right? It's a crossover. So NGC will only look at PCGS coins, which I find fascinating still to this day. Like the fact that they won't look at Annex coins or even old PCI holders, anything. I mean, I don't understand why they won't look at other coins. Anyway, because to me you view them as raw. Now PCGS will look at coins in just about any holder and try to make a determination. Now, by the way, it's very hard to tell sometimes what a coin looks like through some of these older holders. They have a little thicker plastic, maybe it's a little scuffed up. So I can understand to an extent why you wouldn't just take all comers. Is that the term? Right? But at some point, NGC, I think, needs to open up their doors and say, hey, we'll look at Annex coins and we'll look at other stuff. It seems a little bit silly to me, but what do I know? All right, let me see here. Talking about slabbing and restoring coins, if you send a coin in, you can have them professionally restore it or professionally clean it, if you will. Creativity Studio says, you mean after they restore them successfully, but if it's not successful, they could always say it was cleaned before they got their hands on it and label it cleaned. This would be a gray area. I'm sure they wouldn't want to admit ruining it by cleaning it and slabbing it as clean. I'm guessing they probably avoid touching that type of coin that amounts to a rat's nest of problems. Right, so one of the things that they do is, you actually pay an extra fee when you're doing something like that, where if a coin's already in a holder especially, there's a certain fee that's involved with looking at the coins, and they also have a guaranteed premium when it comes to some of the stuff that you send in if it's already in a holder. So the thing is, they do look for that. Like, this is the tricky thing about restoration or conservation or whatever you want to call it. You have to understand what the coin looks like behind whatever's on the front of the coin, right? Like, you have to see through the veil. You have to understand if the coin looks cleaned. In other words, if it has a bright sheen to it. So sometimes a coin will have something on the surface that needs to come off of the coin, otherwise it will continue to react with the metal and cause more damage long term. And so there's lots of times at which a coin actually needs to be professionally cleaned with what they call conservation or restoration or whatever, because people don't like the term clean. But the reality is, you've got to get some of the stuff off the metal sometimes so that the coin can survive long term as something that you or I could collect and enjoy, right? But some of the coins that have been toned over or have a haze to them actually have a really high polish sheen behind there. And if you do something to take that toning off, the coin's going to look like a hubcap, right? And so, yes, you could call it a gray area, but the reality is there are times at which we've sent stuff in for customers or ourselves for restoration, and they didn't touch the coin. And they didn't touch the coin probably for one or two reasons. One, they don't think that they can get the material off safely. And two, because once they get the material off, the coin's going to look like garbage, right? So it's really kind of the same idea, though, which is to say, they're not going to remove whatever's on the surface of the coin if it's going to in some way devalue the coin, make it less attractive or something along those lines. Thanks for the comment. All right, we got a few of these that are kind of all related here. Does the grading service spend more time on the grading a rarer, higher value coin? You know, and also on anything that they think is a counterfeit or a clean coin. You know, a counterfeit or clean coin I don't think fits into the same category. Kevin's asking about they spending more times on a rare coin. And then we have this comment here from Wes saying, I worked at the comic book grading service, NGC's sister company with comics. I really depends on the book itself. A Batman #1 from 1940 will take a lot longer to grade than a Spawn #1 from 1992. With coins, I'm sure the same applies. You know, it's a yes. I just think it's a yes on all accounts. So the video we're talking about, I had basically made the argument that most coins are graded rather quickly, and that's good because you don't want an umpire standing up there like, was that a ball? Was that a strike? Someone you want to have experience can just tell you right away. But they're always going to be more critical. The more rare a coin is, the more valuable a coin is. They're going to spend more time on it, you know, and especially when you get to the ultra rarities. Now, you know, his comparison of you know, your beloved Spawn #1 versus a Batman #1. Apparently, there's a value difference. Who knew, right? So don't tell McFarlane that. Did I get that right? Is it McFarlane? Anyway, so the same thing is true with your coins. You know, they're not going to look as closely or as critically at certain things, which I understand, and at certain times it gives me a little bit of heartache because there are coins that I send in sometimes that are modern or common dates that I think when I see the grades that come back, I think they just kind of gave that a real quick eyeball and didn't really look. In other words, I'm sending in a coin that's less expensive oftentimes because I think it's a really choice grade. And so for them to just pass on it, you know, give it a basic grade. Like when they give a coin that I think is a gem and they just call it a 63, that just irks me. Like that one bugs me to know. I had a Stone Mountain I sent in recently that came back like that. They just called it 63 and I thought this coin is phenomenal. You know, I mean, I wasn't expecting a 67, but it's at least a 5, right? That's the type of thing where I think, come on, give me an extra look, would you guys? But to the point, yeah, people are going to look. The grading companies are going to look a lot closer at a more rare coin because, you know, when you look at like ultra rarities, they're very critical. You know, your whatever $1804, for example. You know, they're very critical of anything that's like an ultra rarity. But you'll see they're a lot more critical. Like I had an 1893S Morgan, where it's clearly extra fine when you look at every other extra fine that's graded, but whoa, I mean, everyone was scared of it because it was an annex holder, right? So, you know, because they know that NGC or PCGS is going to be harder to a degree on some of those coins. All right, James says, I hear you on the first impression. I can't quite describe it, but there is a look. It's a look that I like, and when I see it, I want it. Coins that have that I have to talk myself into liking after I buy them. I'm often not satisfied and end up upgrading down the road. Yeah, so you know, there's the expression "buy the coin, not the holder," and one of the points of that is, you know, I've really had to. It's hard because so many people collect and they want the holders to match. They just want the holders to match no matter what, right? They all want nothing but one grading company or all but just the same grade all the way across. And yet I've seen guys pass on really attractive coins because it was graded a point lower. And I always laugh at that one, especially because I think, you know, this coin looks as nice as all of your MS65s, but it's graded at 64 and it's a 64 price. Like, this is a win-win, right? The coin looks great. So buying coins for eye appeal and look is just a good idea in general for whatever you collect. You know, and the number of coins, you know, you can buy little cheap, inexpensive coins that have great eye appeal and they're fun to own and show people. You know, you get a little Roosevelt dime that's like blooming luster with, you know, all the magentas and whatever color of the rainbow you want to throw in there. That's some fun stuff. Also, yeah, you should never have to talk yourself into buying a coin, right? That's not a good idea. All right. Dr. Osborne says one comment regarding the amount of time they spend grading. I think it takes longer than a few seconds to determine authenticity, especially with some of the higher quality fakes out there. I certainly hope that they're doing that. It doesn't take much time to grade a VF to XF, but a fake has a fake or an altered mint mark. Well, if I'm wrong, I'd like to know how to discern the fakes, altered mint marks, hold and plugged coins, original pieces in seconds. That'd be a great video. Well, I'll have to make. I'm trying to think of videos that I've made that kind of get to that, and I know I've made some videos talking about different altered mint marks and things of that nature. I will say that there's a certain amount of fakes and altered items out there that you can spot really quickly. But to your point, yeah, there are better fakes out there. I know we get caught up on that sometimes. Like if I see people that think everything's a fake because they've watched too many YouTube videos, But I mean, the reality is that most of the fakes that are out there are not very good. I mean, most of them are easy to spot. Or the same thing with having a look with grading, right? The same way that you can look at something and know if it is a certain grade or not. If you look at a lot of coins, then there's a certain thing that you can look at and understand that the coin's been altered, especially when it comes to alterations, removed mint marks, that type of thing. Sometimes it's because the coin itself from one mint or another mint will have a very different look to it. So yeah, and so there's certain things that for someone who has a lot of experience, especially in a specialized area, so maybe you're looking at 1916D dimes and you kind of specialize on mercury dimes. The guys who do that, they can tell you all day long when they look at a coin if the D is real or not. Just boom, 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 looking at it. So there is some of that. And to your point, though, there's definitely going to be some more expensive coins that they will take some time to look a little closer and slow down on, okay, we know this coin is heavily counterfeited. Let's make sure we check and see that there's nothing funny here, right? So that definitely happens. You'll see him slow down, I think, a little bit on some of those things. All right, let's see here. What do we got going on? Last but not least, Rex says, it's called a clip because the coin has been clipped down. Look at the weight on the slab. It says 2.89 grams. The groat is 4.25 grams. Notice the difference on those two numbers. One is very underweight because the edges have been severely clipped down. Clipped coins do not get a grade of any sort, or until recently weren't even put into holders and were returned in body bags. No mistake was made by NGC here. Same with the penny. Maybe Google a little bit before just saying random stuff in your videos. Also, those scratches on the 8-rail are unacceptable despite the wear. They're deep and obviously man-made. Your standards for what... actually, that the rest of the comment gets clipped off on my screen here. So the point is about the point here, which is Rex. Thanks for the comment. I do appreciate it, and history and money and education is kind of what we're about. To Rex's point, you're right, Rex. Everyone who watches the channel deserves better than what I did on that video. And there's lots of stuff that I shoot from the hip on from experience, and there's other things that I need to slow down a little bit and take a minute to make sure that I'm saying the right things, because people are relying on what I say. So I appreciate that comment. It helps, it helps me because I know that sometimes I can just get kind of going on a topic and run with it, right? Also, side comment to the Google comment, until and unless and when Google actually has intelligence involved, and I don't mean artificial intelligence, I mean intelligence involved, I don't recommend Googling most coin data information for the average person. Now, for you as a collector, there's plenty there that you can find information on because you have an understanding how to weed out good information from bad information. But for all of our friends who are new to coin collecting, Google is a very difficult place to find good, accurate information on coins. I will always recommend a 75-year-old book over Google. You're going to have a nice, thick amount of content on a single topic. You'll know what the source is. The problem with the interweb and the Google is that you don't know what's being pushed in front of you or why. And everything looks official. Everything looks so good and so glossy. And you know what? You just don't know if you're getting good information. This is from experience of me having a coin shop where I get to look at people who come in every day and talk to them about the coins that they have, and they have Googled or they have used one of these apps that tells them about coins. And oftentimes that information is a lot more wrong than information you're going to get from me. But having said that, Rex, I appreciate in any time, and I have a lot of you who do this for me, and I appreciate that because some of you specialize in certain areas. And so if I don't know something, I try to say, hey, I'm not sure on this. Guys, help me out. And lots of times people who specialize, will talk about it. So I've never graded comic books, so I don't know Batman 1 from Spawn 1, right? But having said that, I have someone in the community who can say, oh yeah, I've been there, I've done that, right? And so that's what's beautiful about coin collecting. That's what's beautiful about this YouTube community, is you have people who are willing to stand up and say, and usually not in a rude way, just say, that's not really right. This is my information that I know and why and how I know it. So anyways, guys, thanks so much for watching. I appreciate everything. As always, please like and share the videos. Okay, I said it. I did the YouTube thing. Also, comments, that type of thing. But thanks for watching. I'm Ben the Coin Geek. You can subscribe by clicking on the owl button in the corner and watch more videos on the right side of the screen. Thanks.